Hey everyone, my name is Chuck Crosswhite, and I'm new to PremiumBeat.com. The first thing I wanted to talk about today might seem really basic, but actually I just wanted to give you some tips about how to master your manual focus. This is something that's usually talked about with the technology that goes into autofocus. It's called predictive focus. And the opposite of that would be reactionary focus. And I want you to apply the techniques that they use in building the technology for autofocus. I want you to apply that to your manual focus skills. So with predictive focus, what you're trying to do is you're tracking your subject as they're moving, and you want to predict their movements. You actually want to be just in step with them so that you find a rhythm where as they're moving, your focus is going with them. And the opposite of that would be reactive or reactionary focus, where you're waiting until the subject might start to get soft or he's entering the edge of his focal plane. And the reason why you don't want to do that is sometimes you might wait too long, you might slip up. And this is where a lot of novice filmmakers tend to get in trouble, is whenever their focus starts to slip, and instead of doing a small turn to bring back the subject into focus, what they end up doing is they overcompensate. They end up wrenching the focus wheel too far one direction. Then you're gonna have to try and overcompensate by wrenching the focus wheel back the other direction. I wanted to talk about today, when you're rolling focus, really what you want is small, concise movements usually when you're trying to follow a subject. It should be small shifts, small turns of the focal ring so that you can concisely keep them in it, find them, and don't blow past the focal length that you actually want. Now I have with me my iCan follow focus system, and so I wanted to show you on this how you will roll focus on them to achieve adjusting your focal plane. So with Canon lenses and most other lenses, you can think about it as out and in. If you put your grasp at the bottom of the focus wheel, it's going to be a movement of moving out to move your focal plane further away from you. And you're going to bring it in to bring the focal plane towards you. Now, let's switch to Nikon lenses, where it's going to be the exact opposite. And this actually ends up making more sense to me, but I don't run into a lot of people that use, in our world, Nikon lenses, but still something that needs to be talked about. And so you can roll your focus for your lens on a Nikon kind of the way you think it should be, which is further and closer. So if you roll out, you're rolling further away when you're pushing away from you. When you're going away from you, you're pushing the focal plane further away. When you bring the focus ring towards you, you're moving the focal plane closer, which is the way it should be, honestly, in my opinion. But like I said, you can't get a set standard. So there's some tips on rolling focus. So we're going to talk about racking your focus between multiple objects in your shot, and we're going to talk about more like premeditated movements. And so I have a couple clips that I want to show you right now. This technique of controlling your audience's eyeline is something that great cinematographers have mastered and use all the time. So in this clip, if focus in the scene was just set to the subject, the audience would be locked onto the eyeline of the child. But this operator racks their focus from the baby's hand in the faucet to the baby's face. Did you notice that your eyes moved from the hand to the child's eyeline as the focal plane was moved? This is a great way, through rack focusing, for camera operators, director of photography, cinematographers, to move that eyeline, to move their gaze through racking their focus. So let's bust back out the iCan follow focus system, and we're going to talk about hard stops. It allows you to put in two different points, one that's going to give you some nice resistance so you can push back on it and hold your focus there until it's time to rack to your secondary point. And if you have measured out correctly where your two focal points are, you don't have to worry about being in focus when you get to the second point. The hard stop will do that for you, leaving the operator, the only things that they have to consider or worry about is just smoothness and speed. If you do happen to have more than two spots, and you've run out of hard stop locations for your focal points, the next thing to do is to bust out your dry erase marker and to put them on the follow focus itself. Here on the icon, you're going to put it on the white ring. So you can use numbers, you can use Roman numerals, you can use a symbol system of like dots like dominoes, or you could even use a color system if you wanted to go where, let's say, red represents 1, blue represents 2. Totally up to your preference, but let's say you have 4 focal points in one scene that you're going to be filming. Well, you would go through and you would put whatever symbol you have decided in the place where the 4 focal points are, and then you can just shift as the action goes through the scene to each one of those 4 points. If you don't have a follow focus system, then of course you can just put some markings. I like to use colored tape, and so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put a mark on the camera body side of your lens, which is going to be a home base mark, and then you're going to put on the focal ring itself however many focal points that you have measured out. If you have multiple spots, let's put down 3 or 4 pieces of tape for each focal mark, and then you just rotate in order that you have set of each focal point to your home mark. I actually had a few more tips that I wanted to share with everyone. Not enough to make sections of their own, but I'm going to put them together here at the end. And the first one I was going to talk about is using objects as reference points for your focal distance. I've shot hundreds of concerts, I've shot tons of stand-up, and I know whenever I don't get a chance to see the artist come out on stage so I can grab my critical focus, what I like to do is I like to use the mic stand as a reference point, something that you can focus to so that whenever the artist does come out on stage and you're about to take your shot of them, you know that you're going to be in focus because you already had pretty much your distance lined out by using that microphone stand. Okay, so when measuring for focus, the best place to get your focal distance on a person, on a talent, is actually the bridge of their nose, in between their eyes, like this. This allows you to get critical focus on the eye line of any talent you might have, which is where audiences look whenever they're watching any kind of video. So, but sometimes that can be a little bit intrusive. So, might I suggest, if you don't have a stand-in, or if you're dealing with somebody who is uncomfortable by that, running out your tape to maybe just outside of the temple, and you would be able to get a good reading right there for your focal distance. Now on the camera side, what you're looking for is a symbol that looks like this. So make sure when measuring that you're going to go to that symbol on your camera where your sensor is, and don't measure to the edge of your lens, which is a mistake I see a lot of people make. Sometimes when on set, the area around the camera can get very busy, can get very congested, and you're going to want to stay out of the way of the operator's workspace. So this is where you use a whip, and this allows you to kind of from a distance still be able to roll your focus, hit all your marks, see all your marks on your follow focus, and but still kind of let the operator do his or her work without getting in the way. I do want to say thank you for watching this, and I want to hear what you want to learn, and I'm here to help you out. I'll learn along the way maybe, but there's plenty of things that I can teach about. I just wanted to start off with something that was basic and a necessity. So if there's something really pressing that you want to learn about, I'd be happy to do a tutorial about it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much.